In a career that moves effortlessly between independent and big-budget films, movies, television, and theater, her trademark has always been quality. From Mystic Pizza to I Shot Andy Warhol, 6 Feet Under to The Conjuring, her characters always ring true. Today, she continues to be on the cutting edge of her medium, working for Netflix and the groundbreaking network series American Crime. Hello, I'm Ernie Manouse. Coming up on InnerVIEWS, our conversation with Emmy nominee and Golden Globe winner Lili Taylor. For you, what do you see as the difference today between commercial film and the indie world?
The difference? There's no difference really. That's where my issues come. I mean, I feel like around the late 90s is when it started to shift. And now it's almost like, what's the difference between commercial film and TV, I think maybe would be. Because now it's all sequels and franchises and superheroes. And now the interesting stuff is happening on TV. And now, as we were talking earlier, network TV is actually starting to get interesting here.
And I'll get to that in a second. But I think back to when I was younger and the art house films. That market seems to have disappeared as a film thing, and like you said, is popping up on cable and pay TV and all of that.
Yeah, I think, there's still some art houses left, but I think to get your film into the art house now is a whole different process, and it's just really, really difficult. Where before you could, the director had a lot more freedom to do what they wanted to do, and the costs. I think people realize they could make money off film. It's not a great investment, but if you invest wisely, it can happen. And so I think then the pressure started to get on with the names being in your movie, results, and so on. So I think that you could no longer just make what you wanted to make and throw it in.
Right, and also box office opening weekend has just changed the film industry.
Exactly. And now independents to have a pressure to, that's
perform.
It defeats the whole purpose.
When you were beginning off as an actress and looking at things you were taking, were you consciously aware of taking things that were considered indies as opposed to big studio films? Was it what you were being offered? Was it simply the material you were drawn to some things?
It was the material, and it really was the director, I think, and I think it still is, because for me, if the director doesn't have the vision, then who cares? Like, I might have a great moment or a great part, but if it's not part of something bigger and greater, then it doesn't matter. I can have my own little, I can do a scene study class, or I can have my own little fun with a character somewhere else. I don't have to put everyone else through my own thing if the whole piece isn't working. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that makes me wonder, so for you, how do you define success then?
For me, it's the experience. It has to be the experience, because I've had so many things that don't come out or aren't received well, or so many things happen from when you wrap to when it comes out, that I realized pretty early that it has to be about the experience for me. Or then at the end of the day, when I'm reflecting upon the whole life, I'm not gonna, what's it all for? It has to be for the moments that I had creating and collaborating. Okay,
take me all the way back. When did this bug bite you?
Oh, way back. Probably 5 or.
Really?
Yeah, very little. I don't know, maybe even before that. So it feels bigger than me in some ways.
Was it an encouraging family for you to act? Was it something that it was a creative family, so the creative juices were flowing? What was it?
Yeah, it was. It was a creative family. My dad was a poet, and he was in advertising, and that was back in that Mad Men era. So it was really like.
So your dad was Don Draper.
He was at Foot Cone and Belding in Chicago.
Oh, really?
So he was back. He was truly in that era.
So when did you first realize I should be acting? I should be doing something more? Was it something that you got in high school, that you went into college hoping for?
Oh no, it was way earlier than that. I was asking my parents to take me in for the Annie auditions.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I was doing jingles when I was in 11. My friend, her dad was doing commercials, so got in on that. And Bad News Bears, I auditioned for that. I knew what I wanted early.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what was family life like then for you? Doing that kind of stuff, did you feel like a normal kid? Was that Did that seem like other people did that, or was it just
Well, I
something unique?
wasn't. Do you mean like you mean that because I was professional and working?
Right, you're working, your dad's an ad campaign writer, all of this. It seems like a different kind of life than maybe the kid down the street had.
Well, I don't know if we'll get all into this for this short interview, but there was a it didn't work. My dad stopped doing what he was doing, so family life got weird.
Yeah.
So maybe that actually helped in a weird way, because it became very strange.
Yeah?
Yes.
How did it become strange?
Well, mental illness.
Okay.
Yeah. So it became that I think that opens up empathy in a big way. I think,
Yeah.
and for people, the different things that happen to people. So that could have definitely helped my empathy pathways.
There's something that I heard you say where you talked about a character, and that if you can't imagine them having a bowl of cereal, you don't think you've connected to the character. And that takes me back to what you're saying about empathy there, that you have to get in that understanding. And I'm wondering if this upbringing, what you went through, helped you find that about character.
Yeah, that's great, and thank you for parsing that sentence out, because that's an important. That was, I think, with Valerie Solanas. I think I couldn't imagine her day-to-day stuff, and so then I guess I'm in an archetype, or I'm in a grand thing as opposed to a specific human thing. When he comes back, you tell him I'm going to kill him.
You're talking about I Shot Andy Warhol.
I Shot Andy Warhol, yeah. And there's some characters that I haven't been able to imagine that, and I think then I don't know if then maybe I didn't get there with that character, and that's okay because I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I eat cereal every day, so.
Do you have to do that, though, for all characters? Is there some that you can read it, walk in, and do it, as opposed to some that you have to inhabit?
Well, I think maybe I inhabit without so many steps or without so many levels of having to get there, so that but I think the question then is, do I have to inhabit it? I think so. I mean, or that's my goal, I think, even if it's a Greek tragedy, because I think if I'm not inhabiting it, then I'm not gonna get to that human aspect, which is then going to transmit to the human being that's watching it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's for. Because it's for me to transmit something to the audience member, so that then they get an experience within themselves. So if I'm just in my own thing, or in some generalized place, it's not going to get there. And then it just becomes my own bubble thing,
Do you find the more you perform, the more you act, and I'm asking this kind of from my own point of view, I find to prep for interviews, after all the amount of time I've done it, I found the shortcuts. I found ways that I can do it quicker and get hopefully the same result. And I'm wondering, for you, have you learned the ways to make it shorter and quicker, or have you actually found that it takes more time to dig deeper and your process evolved?
Good question. I'm benefiting from the years of being here, which I'm loving, actually. I mean, getting old is wild, but I'm liking the wisdom part of it and just all the experiences behind me. And now I do know, because I've tried so many things, I now kind of know what works. Right. So I'm able to use that wisdom. And then on the other hand, acting has gotten more, I realize that how much I don't know. And so in some ways, and I think Stanford Meisner said, after 20 years, you're going to realize that you don't know anything. And it's going to get to this really weird, and I'm kind of getting to that place where it's getting deeper and weirder for me in a way. I almost feel like I was actually going to sign up for a Esper workshop or some kind of something, because I feel like I'm needing to go deeper, and I'm needing some help, I think.
Do you ever lose confidence in what you do?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Really?
Definitely, which is also interesting, because here you have this wisdom thing and being here and around, and yet there's so I guess the lack of confidence feels different, because because it's on top of life experience.
Yeah.
As opposed to lack of confidence on top of a 25-year-old, so it's very different. So it's a weirder lack of confidence, but it's there, but it maybe isn't as, maybe not quite as uncomfortable, maybe as at 25.
Yeah.
maybe, but it still is, though.
Do you have to find something of yourself in a character you play? Is there some connection that has to happen with you and that character, or can it be somebody extremely foreign to you?
It's not that I have to find, is it that I have to find something of myself, or is it that something has to happen? But I don't know. It's an interesting wording because I hadn't articulated it exactly. Let's say I'm playing Hitler. Is it that, I guess it is that I have to find something of me there as opposed to, or does Hitler have to find something of, no, it's upon me. I have to, it's not the character's job to find it in me. It's my job. I'm in service to the character. So it's I have to adapt to the character as opposed to vice versa. I have to find something I can relate to. I don't know about something, me in there, relate to. I have to find a way that we can understand each other. I almost have to be in conversation too. So even if I say, look, I don't understand this, I'm not like you, because playing a difficult character can be dangerous too for the actor, especially I find with theater. Because and in fact, I heard that was partly why the Greeks had come up with the masks, was to protect the actor also.
Interesting.
Yeah. And persona, person, to speak through. It's very interesting. I want to kind of start working on some of this mask Greek ideas of the actor and where all this kind of came from and how important it is. I mean, persona, person, mask, character, actor, I mean, all of it's so connected. So I went off there for a second, but
I'm still wondering about you playing Hitler. I think that would be very interesting casting.
I'd love to explore women playing men's stuff. I mean, I love that stuff,
Do you find that today's marketplace makes it hard to do the kind of stuff you're talking about? Is it because there's such an emphasis on dollars and cents, as we were talking earlier, and making money, be it in television or in film or even in theater, that it makes it harder to try this creating, pushing the limits and all of that? Or is it a renaissance time where people can?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, I think there's a lot of creativity around, I think that with all the different kinds of mediums we have to express ourselves, I think you can be creative, but then how does one make a livelihood? And that's what's tricky. And I think that it's always best to do what you need to do for yourself and not to worry about a result, and then hope it finds some way in the culture at some point in your lifetime, which is ideal. It doesn't always happen in one's lifetime. Yeah. But then how does one make the money? And that's the question. And I don't know.
Yeah. When you started out, you're doing more theater work per se. You shift kind of into film, television, but mostly into film initially. Conscious shift, or is that just where the work is?
I think it's where the work is, where there's interesting stuff happening, where there's freedom. For me, it's kind of going where there's freedom. I mean, that's when I took the job with Netflix for Hemlock Grove. I think even though the experience might not have been amazing, the end result, the experience was great because it felt like Netflix really gets how to do this. They're exciting right now. They're sort of like Robert Evans in the 70s. They really know how to let the artist do what the artist needs to do. And so for me, it was very exciting to be a part of that.
I keep holding off on it, but now we're going to go right into it too. The shift that's happening in television, and I think, which fascinates me, and you kind of were there with 6 Feet Under, so you're starting into this new concept of what television can be. And from that into what's happening in commercial television with Secrets and Lies or with American Crime, there's a new renaissance in television. You're talking about it with Netflix too. From where you sit, what do you see going on?
Well, what I see specifically with American Crime and ABC is that ABC was the first one to admit that the networks are going to die. I mean, they're like dinosaurs. They're going to go if they don't start to adapt to what's happening. And I think adapt in the way of that audiences want, a lot of audiences want complexity, grayness, complicated stuff, real characters. And so ABC took the risk. I mean, I think they're the first ones out of all the networks to take a risk. And I can't believe that this American Crime is network. I just can't believe it.
When you first got the script for that, I'm wondering to myself, did you know it was an ABC project, or was it just a script you read and thought?
Well, Ridley came and said, "Do you want to do this?" I said, "Yeah," because it was Ridley, and then I was like, this is ABC," and no offense to ABC, I mean, because they just employed me, and I appreciate that, but it wasn't fitting into that network.
It wasn't Happy Days. It wasn't that kind of stuff we've come to. Even the dramas, you can watch television dramas and know they're TV dramas by the way they roll out. Now, you watch something like American Crime, and you're like, what is this? This is interesting.
And during when we were filming it, I was like, wait, is this really AB? And everyone was like, don't ask. We're not asking. We're not talking about it. All we know is we are going to keep doing our job, and we don't know why this is happening. And I say thank you to ABC, and because to get to this place, it's a huge risk, and I think it's very commendable.
And you know, the way I look at it, you've got to take the risk, whether it works or not, if you don't start the journey. Luckily, this thing seems to really be connecting with an audience that probably isn't the traditional ABC audience.
Probably not, but I'm talking to some people in walks of life who are like loving the show, and I think they're people who like those old school dramas.
Yeah.
And so
they're watching this?
Yeah, and I thought this is great, because this is someone who I would not have pegged for liking American Crime. Now, granted, I spoke to a woman yesterday, my neighbor, who's like, I'm trying, but I'm not getting it. And I was like, that's okay. You don't have to get it. Don't worry.
Now, you speak of neighbor. Right now, you're a neighbor of ours because you're here at the University of Houston. You have a very strong connection to the University of Houston, and who would that be?
My husband, Nick Flynn, teaches creative writing, creative nonfiction. Excuse me, the writing departments are so specific: creative nonfiction and poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a very creative family.
Yeah. I mean, as my daughter, when she goes to school, what are your parents? Poet and actor.
Yeah.
Say no more. That's all you have to say.
That's on the checkoff box.
That's very creative.
But you're also doing a project here in town.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of fascinating, something very different.
Yeah. We've been talking about creativity. We've been talking about the times and dollars and cents and so on. So here's an example of an artist, Suzanne Bocanegra. I'm doing her piece called Body Cast. It's a perfect example of doing something that's not for the results, that's not to make money, that's not to, and it's great. I mean, it's very important, and to keep reaffirming why this is so important, this creative spirit. So I want to support this artist, Suzanne Bocanegra, who has written this beautiful piece about being an artist. And it's every artist, no matter what, any human being should read it, should see it, because it's lovely. One of the reasons it's lovely is because throughout her life she's had these little sort of whispers, or these sort of desires that maybe she didn't understand at the time, but she followed them. Yeah. And they were profound. They were coming from this very deep place. And a lot of it's helped me, because there's so many things where I'm like, oh, don't listen to that. That doesn't, I don't know why I'm interested in birds. Doesn't matter. Just don't worry about that. Keep doing this. But to say, wait a minute, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe I need to open this door and look to see what's here. And by doing that, a whole world opens up. And throughout her life, these worlds just kept opening up because she followed and respected these little kind of desires, or these little whispers that she had. And it's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous.
But what you're doing in the piece is not playing her per se. She's there. What are you doing?
So she's written out this piece, and it's like a lecture. And she is saying it into a microphone softly. She's at the off stage. I'm got an earpiece in my ear and slides, and I've got a slide controller. And she starts talking. My name is Suzanne Bocanegra, and I'm off stage at this point. And then so the audience kind of understands the conceit. So I come onto stage and I put the piece in my ear so you can see what's happening. And then I start following what she's saying. I echo what she's saying. Those years really shaped me as an artist and as a person. And that goes on for about 45 minutes. Yeah. And it's fantastic. I mean, she's an artist. She's thinking, she's pushing.
So what do you learn about yourself doing a piece like that?
Well, Do you mean like technically, or do you mean just like doing a piece, what I've learned from the content, or what I've learned of just the whole specifics?
I'm thinking more content when you're hearing things and you're in it and you're becoming one with it. Along the way, you hear it differently, I would think, after a while. And you start to notice or find things. And like we said earlier about you having to connect to a character in a sense, I'm wondering if it awakens something in you when someone like her is telling these stories of creativity and invention and you're hearing it. What does it bring out of you?
Well, it's interesting because this is like Frances McDormand has done this piece and she's done it like for years and I think she probably knows it by heart. So she's in a whole other zone. I'm just beginning and I barely know what the hell's going on because I've got something in my ear, I've got slides. It's very strange and hard. Yeah. It's very difficult actually. So I kind of, by the end, I kind of don't know what I've done, you know, but I've been rehearsing with Suzanne, so I have done it like 10 times. So I'm by osmosis, it's getting in there. So, I mean, what I feel like is, I feel like I'm in service to Suzanne. Like I do feel like with any character, I'm in service to the character, and so I'm in service to Suzanne. And so what my job is, I wanna do whatever I can do to help her bring her vision and her story out there in the fullest way possible. Yeah. You know, so that an audience gets it. So that when I'm starting to talk so fast or I stop and I say, wait a minute, I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know if an audience member is going to know. Maybe we should just slow down a little bit. Right. Because then what's the point? You know, we want someone to really get the story and hear it, you know. Right. But really what I'm getting is what it's helped me is it's helped me respect. It's like respect, I don't know what to call it, like respect my thoughts or respect my, I don't know what to call those things, desires. They're not whims because they're deeper than whims. Whispers, I don't know, just to respect, like for instance, like I went back and I looked at my writing, from like 30 years after working on the Suzanne piece. And I saw things that I've been writing about for 30 years, but I thought, oh, I didn't take any of it seriously. And I see, oh, there's things that I've been interested in. Mm-hmm. But I haven't respected it. I haven't followed it. So I thought, oh, well, I keep talking about this one thing. Maybe I should say, why do we keep talking about this? Let's investigate this. So it's sort of like a respect.
Will this then change what you choose to do next? Mm-hmm. It's how you look at what you'll be doing? Mm-hmm. Okay, one I've got to ask you about because a bunch of my friends will kill me if I don't. And it's kind of a little mini phenomenon was The Conjuring. You make this movie, which I would say is a small movie, being planned and put out there. All of a sudden, it just grabs onto people. It hooks them in a way I haven't seen a thriller, horror film, whatever you want to call it, in years. What do you think it was about that movie?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have been surprised if it hadn't.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew it. Now, you can know things when you're filming and it doesn't turn out, whatever. But that, when I said I wouldn't make a bet with anybody, yeah. I'm not giving money away on this, but I have a feeling that this is going to be, because James Wan is a fantastic director, A. It was all special effects, so it's no computer effects, all practical effects they're called. Yeah. So it was all a person behind a door with a string, you know. So that what it was is imagination, and it was back to giving the audience respect. Their imagination, which people haven't been doing for the audience for years. And it's so clear, the audience says, yes, I have an imagination. Yes, I know how to use it. Let me do it. And if you give that to me, I'll ride with you. And I think that what it was is that James broke through the genre in the sense that he cared about the performances, he cared about the acting, he cared about the aesthetic, and that if you care about all that stuff and give it your all, that it doesn't matter what genre it is, do you know?
Right.
It could be something. You know?
Which is interesting because that genre has so many films coming out in summer times and stuff, and you see all this coming out, and you think, will it get lost in the mix? And how this one rose so high so quick that all my friends were, and before I even knew what it was, they were saying, have you seen it? You've got to go see it. And they were going back and screaming and loving it. And I hear what you're saying about the depth of what's on the screen also. The performances or something. It doesn't matter what the genre is.
No. And talk about that empathy thing. I think we all felt things, you know, just like I felt with Ellen Burstyn in The Exorcist. I mean, I really felt it just happened to be this other thing that was happening there, but really it was a human drama, you know, that was just scary, very scary.
Well, I hope that things don't scare you too much, but that you continue to do the stuff you're doing. It's been a great career. Is that how you'd sum it up?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
Why are you saying you don't know?
Well, it's been a career. It's been a career. I mean, there's been times when you know, I would have liked more opportunity or liked more, you know, I wish that the money hadn't changed, the money's aspect hadn't changed so much.
Yeah.
But whatever, it is what it is, so I have to keep adapting. And I think every artist, since they're probably drawing on caves, could complain about something, you know? So I have my little complaints, but you just have to keep adapting and be flexible.
Well, the selection of characters you've given to us is so full and rich, and you feel like you know them as they come at you. And so thank you so much for all your work and all the entertainment, all you've yet to do.
Thank you.
Lili Taylor.
Great.